Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today we're going to be discussing our upcoming Pink Foxian Jiaoqiu. For question of the day, let me know one of your favorite things about Honkai Star Rail. For me personally, it's definitely making new fun teams and also seeing how characters interact with one another in the story. Also, if you guys enjoy videos like these, do make sure to subscribe to win your next 50/50 and also hit the like button to support the video. And real quick, I wanted to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is FlexiSpot. You know, when you're relaxing and just watching YouTube, or let's say you're doing your dailies, or even a fun memory of Chaos Run in Honkai Star Rail, and then it hits you, your back feels like it's on fire, and you want a solution? Well, look no further. Here is FlexiSpot's C7 chair, which has a bunch of nice features that you can adjust for your own comfort. For example, you can have lower back support with an adjustable cushion that adjusts itself as you move around to ensure constant support. You can have multiple positions in the chair too, whether it's leaning back, forward, and potentially even sleeping. Now, as for the specifications of the chair, which is pretty important, it is designated for all heights. It can support up to 300 pounds. It has a 30-day free return if you aren't actually a fan of the product, and it's available in both mesh and foam options. I like being able to game for long hours in the C7 chair and also comfortably edit my YouTube videos. And I thought I'd also mention, if you prefer an integrated ergonomic chair, you can choose the C5 chair, an office chair, for just over $200. The best part is that there is also currently a discount. Use code C750. You will actually be able to get $50 off of your chair. It's definitely time to upgrade your chair and have incredible comfortability, and you can check out the chair in my description down below. Now, let's carry on with today's video. To begin, I wanted to discuss Jiaoqiu's kit from what we do know so far. Jiaoqiu will be a Fire Nihility character, which makes him our second Fire Nihility character after Gunnifin. Jiaoqiu will be centered around debuffing enemies with his Ashen Rose stacks, which makes the enemies inflicted with these Ashen Rose stacks take more damage from all team members. And Ashen Roast will also consider the enemy to be burned, which an enemy being burned would also be considered a form of damage over time as well. When it comes to Jiaoqiu's attacks, his basic attack will deal damage to a single enemy, but thanks to his talent, all of his attacks will be able to inflict one stack of Ashen Roast, which allows his basic attack to still be valuable to use, especially if your team is more skill point intensive. As for Jiaoqiu's skill, he will target an enemy in adjacents, and he will be able to have a chance to inflict one stack of Ashen Roast on the main target, which combined with his talent means that you can now inflict 2 stacks of Ashen Roast onto the primary target at once. As for Jiaoqiu's ultimate, this is the cherry on top. He will be able to deal damage to all enemies, and he will be able to create a field that will have multiple benefits, and it'll last for 3 turns, which in the story as well as in the livestream, Jiaoqiu has these 3 orbs above his health bar, and each time his turn comes up, the amount will decrease by 1, which implies that his ultimate lasts for 3 turns, and its duration will decrease by 1 at the start of Jiaoqiu's turn. As for benefits from Jiaoqiu's ultimate, one of the benefits is that he will set the highest number of Ashen Rose stacks on an enemy to every enemy on the field. So let's say you inflict 3 Ashen Rose stacks onto the primary enemy you've been attacking, and the rest of the enemies on field only have 1 Ashen Rose stack. After using Jiaoqiu's ultimate, not only will he have a chance to inflict an additional stack thanks to his talent, but he will also set all enemies to have the highest amount of stacks, which would be the same number of stacks as that primary enemy that you've been targeting. And this will be very beneficial for AoE damage dealers to be able to deal increased damage to every enemy on the field. As for the additional benefits from Jiaoqiu's ultimate, his ultimate's field will also increase the ultimate damage that enemies will take by 15%, which can assist the damage output of the team even further when your team members use their ultimates. Additionally, during Jiaoqiu's field, enemies will have a chance to be inflicted with a stack of Ashen Roast when they take action. This is a great way to inflict even more stacks of Ashen Roast onto enemies without Jiaoqiu actually needing to attack them. Plus, if you go into the next wave of enemies, if the ultimate's field is active, enemies entering combat will be inflicted with the maximum number of Ashen Roast stacks that an enemy was inflicted with in the previous wave. This is a great way to be able to take advantage of the debuffs that Jiaoqiu will inflict onto enemies throughout the entire fight, as long as you have good ultimate uptime, which I'll discuss this a bit more in depth once we get into the build section of today's video. As for Jiaoqiu's talent, as mentioned before, he will have a chance to inflict Ashen Rose stacks with his basic attack, skill, and ultimate. You can have up to 5 Ashen Rose stacks onto an enemy, and it'll last for 2 turns. The first stack will make enemies take 15% increased damage, which each additional stack will increase the amount by 5%, for a maximum total of 35% increased damage taken with 5 Ashen Rose stacks. Taking advantage of Jiaoqiu's ultimate and skills or basic attacks will allow you to have a high uptime on these stacks. As for Jiaoqiu's technique, it'll create a dimension that deals fire damage to all enemies, and can have a chance to inflict a stack of Ashen Rose to all enemies as well. Overall, Jiaoqiu has great ways to inflict consistent debuffs onto enemies, which will be beneficial for the team's damage output. And now that we've gone over Jiaoqiu's kit from what we do know so far, let's go over some synergies and key things to keep in mind when building a team with a character such as Jiaoqiu. When it comes to Jiaoqiu's team synergies, one of his best synergies, no doubt, will be with Acheron. Jiaoqiu being able to inflict Ashen Rose stacks as well as enemies being inflicted with Ashen Rose stacks after he uses his ultimate will allow Acheron to get a bunch of stacks for her ultimate. For example, if 4 enemies were to take action after Jiaoqiu uses his ultimate and be inflicted with Ashen Rose, this can result in 4 stacks for Acheron's ultimate without the team even needing to attack the enemy. Jiaoqiu's debuffs will also highly benefit Acheron's kit, such as the increased damage taken and increased ultimate damage taken by enemies, as Acheron deals massive damage with her ultimate. Plus, for those who may have not pulled Acheron's light cone or have her second Eidolon, Jiaoqiu's kit can help you get Acheron's ultimate very quickly, which allows Acheron to use her ultimate more frequently. And honestly, if you did pull her light cone or you did go all the way to E2, he'll still be pretty useful since you'll just be able to get even more stacks at this point and get your ultimate even faster. An example team can be Acheron, Pela for the defense reduction onto enemies to further increase the team's damage output, Jiaoqiu to help Acheron get more stacks for her ultimate as well as increase the team's damage output as well, and then a sustain of your choosing, preferably one that can inflict debuffs onto enemies, whether it's a character holding the universal market light cone, or a character like Gallagher who can inflict debuffs onto enemies with his skill kit. You can use Jiaoqiu on damage over time teams as well, as Ashen Roast will count as an enemy being burned. Plus, enemies taking increased damage as well as ultimate damage can be pretty useful when you are using a character like Kafka, as her ultimate has pretty nice damage potential. And if you don't have too many supportive characters or supportive options, and for example, let's say your Ruan Mei is primarily on your break-centric team, you can use Jiaoqiu as an alternative option on your damage over time team to have Ruan Mei on your break team without any issues. You can also consider using Jiaoqiu with a character like Dr. Ratio, as he will be able to inflict numerous debuffs, which can allow Dr. Ratio to inflict more consistent follow-up attacks, depending on the team. You can consider using Jiaoqiu as a general debuffer on team comps as well, since the increased damage taken by enemies will be beneficial for most teams, which can serve as a flexible team slot. But I will say his main synergy that will make him shine the most when you are comparing him to other debuffers and even the Harmony characters when it comes to value, from what we do know so far, will definitely be alongside Acheron. Especially since when it comes to alternative team comps, if you already have those built-out Harmony or Nihility characters for your teams, then your need for Jiaoqiu may not be as strong. I'll also speak a little more on my personal thoughts on his value a little bit later into the video, but for right now, let's go over some build ideas for Jiaoqiu. When it comes to building Jiaoqiu, for his relic options, I would recommend focusing on reaching stat goals the most when determining which relics you do equip. But for nice options, you can go with 2-piece Pioneer with 2-piece Messenger, 4-piece Pioneer, 4-piece Prisoner, or 2-piece Prisoner, 2-piece Messenger, Musketeer, and so on. For planar sets, you can go with Pan Cosmic Enterprise for more effect hit rate, Blade of the Ageless to buff the team's attack, Broken Keel to buff the team's crit damage, Bradley Von Weck so that Jiaoqiu is advanced forward at the start of battle and has more energy regen, Penacony if he is alongside fire allies and to boost his energy regen as well, and the Forge set can actually be a consideration too for the additional speed and break effect, and so on. For his main stats, I would highly recommend effect hit rate body, speed boots, fire damage orb, and lastly energy regen rope. For his ultimate, it'll only cost 100 energy, which with an energy regen rope, you can have a 3-turn ultimate rotation without any issues. This will allow you to be able to replenish his ultimate, as you will want to replenish this, so it can reset the amount of ashen rose stacks that enemies will be able to be inflicted with on their turn per field. As for substats, you'll want to go for effect hit rate, speed, and then attack as well as defensive stats. You can also consider break effect substats to deal more damage if Jiaoqiu is breaking fire weak enemies, but your main priority will be the speed and effect hit rate. For his effect hit rate, I would recommend 140 effect hit rate or above, and for his speed, you can go with a minimum of 134, but I would recommend higher speed so that he can act often, as he can generate more stacks for Acheron by inflicting more ashen rose stacks onto enemies. As for Jiaoqiu's Lycone, we haven't seen the full details on this Lycone just yet, but it'll more than likely of course be his best choice, as most signature Lycones are. As for what we do know about him so far though, you can use Lycones such as Eyes of the Prey, Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat, especially if you do decide to pair him with Dr. Ratio, this additional debuff will be valuable. Before the tutorial mission begins, Solitary Healing, and so on. Overall, Jiaoqiu has numerous options you can use, and I'll be able to give even more firm suggestions and my thoughts on his value once I showcase him very soon on the channel. When it comes to Jiaoqiu's kit so far though, I do think when it comes to further improving the potential of your Acheron team, he'll be an amazing option for that, and his debuffs can be valuable for damage over time teams, potentially alongside Dr. Ratio, and also as a general debuffer, but as I mentioned before, I would say the best synergy will be with Acheron. And if you don't have her, or you are satisfied already with your Acheron team and you're saving for potentially 2.5 and already have numerous other supportive characters and debuffer characters built, then your need for Jiaoqiu may not be as strong for right now. Unless of course you love his design, then that's enough reason to pull for our upcoming Pink Foxian. You may also be wondering if you need him for your Acheron teams, and I would honestly say that there are pretty good options that you can currently use depending on your roster. For example, Pela is a great option you can use. Some like to use Sparkle alongside Acheron and so on. It just ultimately depends on what is on your roster, but I wouldn't say you per se need this character unless once again you want to further improve the team, or if you rather go for a character you like more, such as let's say you really like Lingsha or you really like Fei Xiao, then I would recommend more than likely just looking at those characters. Unless of course your main priority is to increase the potential of your Acheron team specifically. That's just my thoughts on it so far. I wouldn't say he is a must-have character. He's a really nice character though for that specific team for sure. You can use him as an alternative option for damage over time teams, so that's something to consider as well. But I'd love to know, what do you guys think about Jiaoqiu's kit so far? And if you guys are going to pull for him, or if you're more so looking at 2.5. That'll be all from me though. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, do make sure to subscribe for more Star Rail content, leave a like to support the video, and I'll be releasing more Jiaoqiu videos pretty soon, some upcoming showcases, and if you guys want me to test them with any teams, let me know and I'll try to get them out for you guys. I hope you all have a great one like always. Peace.